Welcome to Crafty Carol's Christmas Countdown, week 9, I think. I'm losing count. Honestly, where is time going? But anyway, today, some more simple Christmas cards, because we're all into making the final few Christmas cards, because we need to get some sent soon. I need to post my overseas ones, certainly. And I'm pulling these square layered cards. I got the idea from an American demonstrator, Leanne Greff. Not sure. Anyway, thought we'd make these today, just really simple. So what I'm going to use, I'm using, as you've seen, the Perfectly Played wonderful set, which comes with a matching punch, which is really useful. We've got all these different trees we can punch out, which I've put on the centre of these cards. And they're another great way of using up old paper. So I'm actually going to use a current paper that's in the main catalogue, which is called Tidings of Christmas. Beautiful paper in all the lovely colours with all sorts of different patterns. I can't get it all out to show you, but I could get it all out to show you, but loads of different patterns on it. Just beautiful paper. Double-sided, of course, so loads of different ones, but I'm going with a green theme for this one. So to make these cards, I've used a coloured card base. Now you can, if you wish, use a white card base and just put a coloured layer on, an extra coloured layer on, which is the same size as the base. So the base is the normal size, which is 21 centimetres by 14.8 and scored at 10.5. So that gives us our regular sized base for the card. Then we need two, because it's coloured card, I need white for the inside as well. So 2 pieces of white card, 14.3 centimetres by 9.9. And then all the little bits that you're going to make up here. So let's go through all the bits to make sure you've got them. So we want 2 pieces of DSP. I'm struggling to speak today. I think it's because it's so cold. But 2 of these, they are 6.6 centimetres square. So 2 of the different patterns. Then a smaller piece, 5.5 centimetres square. I used the same pattern as my base piece, so you can use any that you want. Then we want 2 more pieces of white, a 5 centimetre square piece of white and a 7 centimetre square piece of white. So, and then you need a scrap piece to do your tree. I've already cut one out, but I'll show you about how to do that in a minute. So how do we put it together? Well, I have used a sentiment from the Perfectly Played set for the centre. So I'm going to stamp the inside piece of card first. And I'm using, my base card is Evening Evergreen, so one of the current in colours. So I'm going to use Evening, if I open the thing, there we go, stiff, still quite new. Evening Evergreen. So I'm going to stamp up my stamp and just stamp in the middle. Don't you see this? I'm having to pull it down. Don't want to hit my head on the phone that's taking the video. There we go. So that's the inside. You can obviously embellish that more if you want. And then for the outside, I'm just going to stamp the Merry Christmas sentiment just near the bottom of the outside piece. I'm going to stamp that just there, ready for the front. You can do that before or after, it doesn't really matter. And then we're going to stamp a tree to cut out. I've already done one, but I'll just show you how simple it is. So I've got this particular tree, and there are different types of trees, as you can see on the stamp set. This one's the one I'm using. It's one of the distinctive, so it's got a variegation in the actual stamp itself. You've got the plaid colour one, just the leaves that can fill in that one. Oh, there's all sorts of options you can take, but I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to stamp the tree on my piece of scrap paper, and this tree comes as a separate trunk, so I'm just going to stamp that in the same colour just at the base of there. So you can see I've done the trunk, not quite in the middle, but let's not worry too much about that. And then I'll clean those in a minute. Where's my punch gone? There we go. And then we can very simply punch that out. It does help if you stick the tree in the middle. I can still just about punch that out okay. So I've put that punch in the trunk in a very strange place, but we'll worry about that. It's still not too bad. So that's my tree punched. So then it's just a matter of assembling the card with all the bits. To clean those in a minute. So how to do this is a little bit of technique putting these all together. The first thing is actually assembling. I'll just shut this ink pad because I shouldn't ever leave ink pads open. There. So the first thing is assembling these. So this top white square goes on the first of the DSP squares. So I'm going to put that on first. I'll just put a little bit of glue around there. And we shall stick that onto here. So that sticks in the middle. It's quite difficult leaning over doing this under the camera so you can see without me getting my head in the way. Then the piece of DSP that you're going to use in the centre then goes on a white base. So just put a little bit of glue on the back there. You can see the lovely patterns on the back of this. So you can use whichever patterns you want. I've already made quite a lot of these. I'm going to make a few more. They're very effective, but they're not very deep. They don't have much depth, so they're not too bad for posting. So I'll stick that one on there. What's the back of this one? See, it's beautiful on there as well. Beautiful pictures. So how to put them on here. This is the bit I really wanted to show you. So I've got, you can use grid paper, or I've got this lovely, can't find it. What do I call it? Just the thing I work on, the bit I work on, my work area. So I'm going to line it up so that it's straight on my lines. And I've got my nice thick black line through the middle here. So this is my base piece. So I need to get it really straight. So I want that roughly in the middle, and then I can line that up with both lines. So I'm going to have a little bit higher, I think. So I'm going to get my base card lined up and keep that still there. Oh, it's going to move slightly, but I'll adjust it in a sec. So then I can glue this. And then, oh, can't pick it up. There we go. So make sure this is straight again. Make sure that all my little points are sticking towards my black lines. There we go. So that point's lined up. It's got this straight along the top. That point's lined up with the centre. And that's there, so I can stick that in. So use grid paper or some sort of line paper just to help you line it up properly. You could draw lines on here if you wanted and then rub them out after, up to you. But I found just using this base is sensible. So once I've got that lined up, then it's easy to stick the rest on. So then I'm going to stick my larger piece that's on my white base. Now, the patterns I'm using for this particular card aren't directional, so it doesn't really matter which way round. If you've got a directional one, I'll just show you in one of the other cards when I stuck this on. So I'm going to do this one with my eye and just make sure I've got the same amount of points sticking out. So directional patterns, you can see on this one I've got the little deer on this one, so I needed to make sure that was obviously the right way up. So if you've got a directional pattern, think about how you cut it and think about which layer you use it for. But for most DSP, which isn't directional, it doesn't really matter. So there we have the second layer, and then the third layer just goes on top. You see, I'm not using dimensionals for these at all, so there's very little depth in the card, but there's enough to give it interest. So this final layer again goes on as a diamond, and all you need to do is make sure that you're lining up the tips with each of the tips of your lower layer. And there you have it. How simple is that? And then finally we can stick the tree on. Just grab my dimensionals. Now I am going to put a couple of dimensionals on the tree just to stick it out a little bit. You can, if you wanted even less bulk, you can obviously stamp directly onto this this particular scrap, this little square in the middle. So we'll just get that tree somewhere in the middle. Oh, it's not very good, is it? Let's try again. That's better. So there's our tree on there. So we've put that bit together, and then finally we just have to stick these onto the card. So I shall just very quickly do that. So you can see how quick these are to make. Probably the longest bit of time is actually cutting out all the bits. But once you've got the measurements, it's not bad. I'm going to have the instructions on my website, so you can download the sizes from there if you didn't pick them up from the video. So if you're watching this too much, this is my centre bit. I could stamp, normally I'd stamp a few more trees on the middle as well, but I haven't bothered with this. I'm just going to put the this sentiment inside. And there we have a really quick and easy using up DSP Christmas card. These are lovely. I'm going to make them in all sorts of colours. You can see I already have, because I've got those ones, and I've actually made them with a brighter green with shaded spruce. So there you go. Have fun making some of these layered cards. See you next week. Bye for now.